What is up, bros and broettes? I'm Inkslasher 44, and today I'm going to be telling you a story that I've literally told no one before. The only people that know about the story are me, my girlfriend that I've been with for 3 years, and some of my really, really close friends. But today, I'm going to be telling you this story. I like to call it the naked party story, and I'm really hoping you guys will enjoy it. So if you do, sit back, relax, hit that like button if you enjoy, and get ready to hear an absolutely hilarious story. This is probably one of the funniest things that's happened to me my entire life. So keep in mind listening to this story, because I'm going to have to tell this story pretty much 3 times for it to make sense. First of all, from my girlfriend's perspective, second of all, from my perspective, and then third of all, from everyone else at this party's perspective. So we'll start off by looking at what this night was for my girlfriend. So keep in mind, I've been with my girlfriend for 3 years. At the time of this incident, I had been with her for 2 dates. Yes, that's right. I took her to this party on our second date ever, and that's where what happened. That's where this went down. So the friend's house that we went to is a really, really close friend of mine. I've known him since I was a really young kid. He has parties all the time. Pretty much every summer has maybe 6 to 10 parties throughout the summer. That doesn't include the time the guys just go over and hang out. But so this was one of the bigger parties he had because his older brother had a party, his sister had a party, and he had a party. So there was all these people coming to his house all at once. So we were all having a good time and playing some drinking games, beer pong, tummies, a bunch of drinking games you probably never heard of. And then we started playing Flip Cup. So Flip Cup is one of these games where basically you chug a beer, you flip the cup, first team to flip all their cups wins. Now we got a little competitive this night. So we basically said the losing team has to go skinny dipping. My girlfriend was on the other team, or sorry, my date at the time was on the other team, so I was hoping to make her go skinny dipping. So unfortunately, we lost. So I went outside, and I'll get to what happened outside once we go to my perspective. So my girlfriend's inside at the time. Oh, sorry, I keep calling her my girlfriend. I've been with her for 3 years. So my date at the time stays inside. She's playing some drinking games with the guys, and the guy who's hosting the party has this superpower. You gotta understand, this is an absolutely amazing superpower that he does not abuse whatsoever. He has this ability to get girls drunk on command. Now, you think this would be a horrible thing because he'd take advantage of these girls? He does not. He does not whatsoever. He doesn't try to hook up with them. Nothing. He is just really good at getting them drunk. So, basically, he's getting her drunk, he's feeding her shots of champagne, and she will not drink champagne to this day. Nothing whatsoever. She won't touch it because of this night. So I come in from outside. Again, we'll get into what happened outside once we tell my perspective of the story. Come in, start talking to her. She is clearly very, very drunk. She grabs me, takes me into the other room, and starts making out with me. I'm thinking, friend, great job doing what you do best. He got her loaded, and now she wants to hook up with me. All we did that night, I'm telling you right now, is all we did was make out. She was a very classy lady for a second date. Like, she didn't want to do anything more. Good for her. Even when she's drunk, she stuck to her morals. That's why I'm still with her to this day. But aside from that, so we're making out in the other room, and then she kind of like looks up. She was maybe getting a little handsy at the time, and then goes, I don't feel so good. And I'm like, oh, geez, here we go. So we go outside. And we're talking for a little bit, and then all of a sudden she pukes and then runs down this pathway. Because understandably, on the second date, you don't want to see the person you're going out on a date with puke. You just don't want to see that. So she runs away from me, and I kind of keep my distance, but let her puke, but keep her in my visual range, just so she doesn't get hurt, nothing bad happens to her, no one tries to rape her. This is a dark path, keep in mind. So she runs down this path, is puking. Every time she pukes, she runs further away. So I gotta keep up with her, make sure she doesn't die. So, this goes on for probably about 2 kilometers. Like, she keeps going, and then puking, and then going. So, eventually, she sits down on the sidewalk, and she finally lets me talk to her, and I'm like, hey, don't worry about it, listen, I'm not going to look at you any differently, I get it, you're drunk, but we need to take care of this. And she says, I don't want to go home, I can't let my parents see me like this, so, what should I do? And I said, well, either I can call you a cab home, pay for your cab home, you can get home safe, or you can stay here. She's like, I'd prefer to stay here, but, like, I don't want to be a slut. Like, I don't want to sleep with you or anything like that. I'm like, fair enough. Like, I get what you're saying. I'll ask my friend if you can stay over. So I ask him if she can stay over. He says, absolutely, that's perfectly fine. She can sleep in my brother's bed, and we'll make sure we take care of her. All my friends are really good about that kind of stuff. Even to this day, something that happened. I can get into stories about Cuba and all this stuff another day, but for today, we're just going to stick with this. So I carry her up to bed once we get back to the house. That is the only thing she remembers. She doesn't remember going down the pathway and puking. She doesn't remember any of the conversations we had on the path. She just remembers me carrying her up to bed. That's all she remembers after taking the shots of champagne. So I carry her up to bed, say goodnight, say both her and I had to work in the morning, so I said, I'll see you in the morning, I'll wake you up, then we'll go to work. She says, okay, good night, thanks for taking care of me, whatever. So she's in bed. So that's kind of where her perspective ends up until the morning, which we'll talk about in a second. So I then, from my perspective, so what I told you is we played Flip Cup, we went outside because we had to go skinny dipping. I didn't actually go skinny dipping, no one did until kind of later, but we'll get into that in a minute. But so I just got into my boxers, dove in the pool, went in the hot tub, everything's kosher. Then I went inside, saw Melissa talking to my friend, taking shots of champagne. She made out with me, went outside. All that's good. So where we are right now is I'm coming downstairs from putting Melissa to bed. Walk downstairs. My friends are all playing a drinking game, sitting around a table. What I brought to this party is I brought a bunch of beer and a bottle of Di Serono. Di Serono is basically something you mix. It's like, I think, 26% alcohol, so not a high percentage of alcohol whatsoever. It's absolutely delicious, but I can't drink it because of this night. But I saw, I have 3/4 of a bottle of Di Serono left. This stuff is delicious. I take a sip of it, and you go, you know what? I'm not feeling drunk whatsoever. I was just taking care of a girl for an hour and a half, and I deserve some drinks. So I slammed this bottle of Di Serono, chugged it, finished it. I was like, that was pretty good. Like, it didn't taste bad at all. Like, no burning sensation. Awesome. I'm like, you know what? Let's go play some drinking games with the guys. That is the last thing I remember from the night. The absolute last thing. Do not remember anything else. So skip forward to the morning. I wake up in the bed with Melissa. I'm like, oh, geez, like, did we do anything? I roll over on my side, look over the side of the bed. There's puke on the ground. There's puke on the side of the bed. And I'm like, oh, God, she puked everywhere. Goes to turn out that was me puking, but we'll get into that in a second. I wake her up. I'm like, we got to go to work. We have like an hour to get to work. I don't have a car right now, so we got to walk. So we should get up, get going. So then I pull the blanket off myself, look down. I am completely, utterly naked. Not wearing anything whatsoever. She goes, I go, am I naked? Like, I pulled the blanket back over myself and say, am I naked? And she goes, yep. And I'm like, did we do anything? She's like, hell no. And I'm just like, what the hell happened? She's like, I don't know. I just know you came to bed completely naked and we didn't do anything. That is all I know. And I'm like, okay, weird. So I wake my friend who lives there up and he's like, you are a fucking idiot. I'm like, oh God, what did I do? So after I slammed this bottle of Di Serono, here's what happened with the night. So as you guys remember, I went outside, I went swimming in my boxers. When I got out of the water, I changed back into my clothes, but I took off my boxers so my pants wouldn't get wet. I then went outside, took care of Melissa, came back, slammed the bottle of Di Serono, and then basically played drinking games for a while, and then I got drunk. I decided to take off all my clothes, run around the house naked, basically doing the meat spin, and eventually people got fed up, so I ran and jumped in the pool. I'm like, they're not going to jump in here to deal with me. I then got out of the pool, went into the downstairs bathroom, puked everywhere. In my attempt to clean it up, basically what I did is unrolled a roll of toilet paper, threw it in the toilet, not cleaning anything up whatsoever, clogged that toilet. So then I'm like, you know what? People probably want to see me. Me not knowing, because how drunk I was still naked. So I walk downstairs and start hanging out with people, or at least trying to, and they're like, dude, just go to bed. You're walking around naked. I don't remember any of this. This is just what my friends told me. So I'm like, you know what? Fine, I'll go to bed. On the way upstairs to bed with Melissa, I found another bathroom and was like, well, while I'm here, why don't I puke? So I went in that bathroom, puked, did the exact same thing, clogged the toilet again with toilet paper, and went to bed. Got in bed with Melissa, puked in the bed, and passed out. Melissa says she remembers me going to bed, and then I wake up in the morning. So I wake up in the morning next to her, not knowing what the hell happened, completely naked. Needless to say, Melissa did not talk to me for about a week, and then she said, okay, we'll hang out. Like, I don't really know what you did that night. I just know you came to bed completely naked. It was really funny. I didn't know where my phone was in the morning. I didn't know where any of my clothes was, and it was really weird to see because they were completely scattered throughout the entire house, just everywhere. Clothes everywhere. Like, I think my pants were on the main floor, my shirt was on the bottom floor, my boxers were outside because, of course, I took them off out there. When I went swimming the first time, I took them off. But the reason why I got naked is because I assumed I had boxers on. I just assumed that I didn't go skinny dipping before. I'll just take my clothes off. I'm hot. I'll be in my boxers. It's no big deal. Everyone's seen me in my boxers. It's not a big deal. But of course, I wasn't because I went skinny dipping. So the reason why I'm telling this story is because I find it crazy, all the stuff that happened that night, and the fact that I am still with that girl that happened to this day just blows my mind. Clearly, what she saw when I was naked was definitely worth keeping around, if you know what I mean. But I just find this story absolutely hilarious. Just how I can literally be walking around a house completely naked without even knowing it. It's, I think, a pretty funny story. So, if you guys enjoyed the story and want to hear more stories like this, go ahead and hit that like button. Check me out on Twitch and Twitter. Link in the description. Subscribe to join the Ink Army. Stay a little more sober than I did in this story. Remember to drink responsibly if you're of legal age. So thanks for watching, and until next time, guys.
Lisa!